Be very aware who are you letting into your circle, and ultimately rely on yourself and maintain your, sorry to say, but it's the heart. Maintain the purity of your intention. It's not that I became numb. No, I just feel there is an additional layer that I can observe about myself. It is painful, but it's okay for right now. For me, I'm really, really happy uncertainty is existing in this world, because I cannot imagine how boring it would be if I would already know with certainty where I'm going to be in 20 years. I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. A certain amount of self-control, a certain amount of discipline. You don't let your emotions run over you. Even if something makes you angry, it's not honorable. It's not respectful to now shout out. You shouldn't do it. Be able to maintain your emotional states, maintain your temper, at least to a certain extent. This is where I would say it comes to self-control. In the Shaolin traditional texts is broken down into 14 different virtues. The virtues of action. What does it mean, virtues of action? It is, how should you behave? Behave in a loyal way. Behave in a trustful way. Behave in a respectful way. Behave in a courageous way. This is the how should you do something. The virtues of mind, for example, they say, what is it that nourishes the way for you to put the virtues of action into practice? How can you learn to behave respectfully? Because naturally, if people like insulting you, you don't behave respectfully towards them. So how can you still behave respectfully, still be loyal to people? How do you do it? And this is where it then comes to the virtues of the mind. To really learn, to be patient, to really know what does it mean to be persistent, to persevere during your training. Yeah.
If someone asked you, which religion do you follow, what would your answer be?
I would call it the religion of oneness. The religion of oneness. The religion of, I do believe that we are connected at some way. And it is my journey. I don't want to just intellectualize it. The path is to lay out and remove all the friction and all the obstacles to just realize that it is like this.
Are you happy?
It's a difficult question. I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. So my state of what I'm aiming for, I would say it is peace. Because happiness for me, taking by this word, if there's happiness, there is sadness. If something can rise, something must fall. If you can attain something, there's something to lose. That's why it's difficult. That's why I stopped a moment. I don't know what type of happiness you mean. Being satisfied with where I'm standing, yes. Does it mean that I don't have hard moments? I have hard moments. And that's why for me, like, what is it I ultimately look for? I would call it's just peace.
Are you at peace?
More and more, yes.
More and more?
This one, yes, more and more.
What's in the way of your peace?
I would call it karmic relations, karmic connections, that you just think like you cannot avoid them. Because your mother gave birth to you, automatically, whatever your mother is doing or not doing, however the state of health of your mother is going to affect you in a way. There are sometimes people in this world, you have a closer karmic relation towards them. So what they are doing is also going to affect you. And in my case, it's the same. Real life speaking, my son, yes, he is a very strong karmic relation. He's on the one side my own flesh and blood, together with my beloved. But it also means the way how my son feels, it is affecting me. And this is something that I still need to learn to regulate, which also sometimes means, if you only sleep like 2 hours per night, then it is like this, but you have good training to still maintain your peace afterwards. These are simple things, yes? Ultimately, it's really up to you. How much do you really want it? And it's going to continue like this until you will ultimately come to the point, and it's going to come quickly, I do think, where you realize for yourself that it's an infinite direction of possibilities. They will never run out. But you will still have to figure out what is it that you really want from your life. Sometimes even such close people don't know who you are. Can also happen. Hurts double as much as people saying something about you that don't know you. Now you have people that you thought know you and still they didn't get you. Also very painful. It only leads to one thing. You would have right now the impression of, so what's the only way? Just go your way regardless of what people think? In a way, yes, but have understanding for them and no ill will against them. Be careful, be very aware who are you letting into your circle, and ultimately rely on yourself and maintain your, sorry to say, but it's the heart. Maintain the purity of your intention. Shaolin Kung Fu literally means walking through the valley of pain. What does it mean? When you are doing stretching, it's going to be painful. When you are doing strength training, it's going to be painful. When you do conditioning training, it's going to be painful. So the whole path on this martial art journey, it is just filled with working yourself up to the level of where it feels uncomfortable, getting some consistency into the practice until the point where that uncomfortable feeling just started disappearing. Why? Because somehow you broke that initial comfort zone. So, but then it doesn't end. No, next level. Until you're building up, first of all, whatever we're doing, later on I will show you some practices, it's not that I do not feel pain. I also feel pain. Maybe I feel it later. But the essential part is that my connection, my relation between the pain of the body towards what would it affect in the way of how I take my decisions, that is a different one. I feel the pain, but I see no necessity to still change something about my way right now. Why? Because I can take the pain. Whereas when you are not used to this pain, you feel it and then it tells you it's painful. The mind says, okay, it's not good. And so you directly change something. And this is just the difference. So it's not that I became numb. No, I just feel there is an additional layer that I can observe about myself. It is painful, but it's okay for right now. There's only one thing that makes you break free from fear, which is to find a way and wake up from that dream. When I look at my worries I had in the last month, for sure 90% of all the worries just didn't happen in the first place. 10% might somehow came true, but then again I asked myself, good, so the 10% that came true, even though I had the worries, what could I do about it? Coming to the conclusion, nothing. And then something just really started to shift inside of me where I literally let go of something. Let go of this idea that everything is like one directional, that everything that you're going to encounter in this lifetime is going to be beautiful. Everything in this lifetime is going to be peaceful. Everybody you're going to meet along your journey is going to be well-hearted towards you. No, it's not. Because in the moment where you have well-hearted people, you have ill-willed people. And in the moment where there is success, where you want to be part of the success story, you're going to be part of the failing story. And in the moment where you want to be part of the light story, you're going to be part of the dark story. This is how it is. This is the world of what we call it's the world of yin and yang. This is the world of birth and death, of aging and sickness. I do think it is a blessing being able to just experience. It's a blessing that we have been granted the possibility of simply experiencing what this existence is capable of creating, including everything, including the joy, including the happiness, including the tears, including the heartbreaks, all of this, without the separation, whether you prefer one area or not. Sometimes the one goes with the other. But the purpose, in a way, is just be and experience. The only thing that happens, and which is a big part nowadays, is if you take your current existence too serious. If you completely base your identity, your being, on what you think you are. It's just a picture right now. Just sometimes make it very simple. Jump out of yourself and be the director. Be the director of this avatar. And then it just opens another perspective. Because in that moment, you just realize it's like a movie. Not everything is always positive, but in the moment where there are times of struggle, still not being caught inside your own creation, identity, illusion of the self, different expressions for that. It's a very helpful way of thinking. Let's put it like this. I can feel how my old patterns sometimes are still trying to sneak in. What to do to break patterns? Number one, you need to see you have one. And number two, you need to replace old patterns, which ultimately mean patterns, it's habitual behavior, it's habits. How do you build habits? By continuous behavioral patterns that you continuously do. So there is something about consistency and continuity that ultimately builds a pattern. Consistency of having a training regimen every day. You know, it's not helpful to like 6 days per week do nothing and then you go 1 day to the gym and give your everything. No, it's better you have some type of consistency throughout the whole day. This is what builds patterns, healthy patterns. Yeah. Similar like this. What is somebody supposed to do? Number one, look at yourself and see yourself. We are all not perfect, but according to the circumstances that you are facing right now today, what type of character do you think? With what do you want to equip your character? That he is able to go through this current times in the best possible manner. What is not useful for you anymore, try to get rid of it and get your new skills in. There were times I could simply be surrounded with thousands of people, but still feel lonely. It's not what you're surrounded with. It's with what you are connected. And there I felt like there is always, again, this type of force. What is it that drives you on? Going outwards, going outwards, going outwards, you lose yourself. But this self is the only thing that can give you connection in this life. I do believe that we all have a source. There is a source. Whether you call that source is the universe, whether you call the source it is the God, whether this source is the infinite energy, I don't know. There's so many different expressions to it. But when I look at all these teachings, all are always pointing at one and the same thing. Let's just take the expression of yin and yang, the symbol everybody knows in the world. And there is that nice saying, yin and yang have a mother. The mother sometimes simply being illustrated as one circle. So yin and yang as the expression from duality, polarity, existence of number two. Yeah, where do two come from? They must come from one. So simple like in our way, you are there, I am here, one, two, where do we come from? There must be something that we have as a common denominator. And this source is the only thing that can connect us. Because it's not your family. It's not my family. They're still different. That is not enough. Going just looking at we are humans. Animals same. Whatever and whoever gave us the possibility to be here is the same who gave you the permission, is the same who gave me the permission and the blessing. This is the level of mind. This is the level of connection that never leaves you lonely. Your best friend or your best girlfriend gonna ask you, so how was this conversation? And even though that we are maybe just talking 3 hours, 4 hours, even if you spend 2 days long explaining to your best friend how this conversation was, it's not the truth. It is not the truth. How is this conversation? How is this conversation? Even right now, we cannot even speak about it. I tell you how this conversation right now really is. Yes? How you want to describe this? You will be the only one ever knowing how this is. It doesn't matter who's going to ask you afterwards, what you're going to tell them. You want to feel it? You need to experience it. There is no other way. And this is the nature of words. This is why these ancient stories come. For example, one master and his student walk up on a mountain early in the morning, then the sun rises up, and then the student says, "Oh, master, what a beautiful sunrise." And then like the master slaps him and never takes him to a walk anymore. Then you say, why was the teacher so hard to him? Because in the moment where you give something that you experience, a word, you limit its nature. You naturally limit its nature. How does this now translate into what we can do with this knowledge? Whatever is being dense and it's limiting, I don't think it's the way. I think everything for us to practice is look beyond limitations. Look beyond the words. Look beyond the shape. Practice to look beyond the superficiality of things. Because this is where the meaning lies, or this is where part of the realization lies. Yeah, you don't need to go anywhere. The only thing you need to do is take a moment, contemplate about yourself, go into yourself and find the answers there, and then decide for yourself which part and what type of contribution would you like to give to the world that you're living in. I ultimately think this is what I'm doing. I would say it's diversity and choice. This world is filled with so much choice, meanwhile, that it's difficult in a way to take a decision, which direction to go, what is right to do, what is not right to do. But ultimately, it's only yourself who knows the answer, which means it comes to the essential point, learn more about yourself. This is where it starts. Because if you have the wrong perspective of who you are, what you are, everything else in this lifetime you base your decisions on is just not going to be placed in the right direction. I wake up and sit on the sofa and still just sit. Just being awake and just breathe, literally. Just realizing slowly, scanning my own body from the inside, going through the body. So really making sure, in a way, that everything that's going to come up during this day is being perceived very consciously Yeah, by this. So it's like I slowly build up my energies, prepare. This is how I would call it. It doesn't look very special looking from the outside. Unless I wake up and the sun is asking for something, then of course I have my duties to do. But if I can really have my day after waking up, still the next hour is still I spend alone. This is what I prefer to do.
And do you do exercise in the morning?
Yes, push-ups, sit-ups, and standing practice.
What's standing practice?
Partially it's also, some of them are like mentioned in the book, but literally it is what it sounds like. I choose one position that I'm standing in, and then I hold that position for 15 minutes.
Why?
Take all the spiritual part out of this, because there are some positions that are looking so strange that at some point I also ask myself, how would somebody even invest his lifetime standing and putting yourself through such a position? Well, there must be a reason why in ancient times it is kept as a secret practice to stay like this. The squatting monkey is called. This is a practice that builds up what we call energy. How do you build up energy? It is by giving your mind something where you need to have willpower to maintain it. Willpower and development of energy go hand in hand with each other. The will to live, the will to keep going, the will. Strong will, iron will, energy is also very high. And so literally, some of these positions are so demanding on the body that in order to maintain this position, you have to have will. You need to create something about yourself where you are pushing yourself. And this is, when we have time, I show you the exercise. Yes. And this is why I do it. Now, one of the first things is really try as often as you can to remind yourself and put yourself in that proper state of what you think you are. I wake up and try to not already have any type of thought from yesterday in my mind. I try to wake up empty. Also, try to, at all moments, immerse myself as much as I can in the present moment. That's what it is. Live in the here and now. How you do this? To live in the here and now. Stop jumping into the past and stop jumping into the future. Then you live in the here and now. But you must practice it. And literally meaning how you do it, make yourself empty. Because the only thing that fills your mind with past and future is your thoughts. The mind. In the moment where you just on a regular basis put yourself consciously and willingly in different situations and circumstances that actually represent a little bit the structures of life. There are moments in this lifetime where you are going to be super tense. And then it's good to know already how does it feel and what is it that you can do? Well, to learn and release the tension. That's why releasing tension is also a big part of the exercises. The one thing is learning to release tension. The other thing is like when you are too sloppy, when you're too slacky, how to increase your tension, how to increase the energy level again for you to get back into structure again. It's always this balance. And ultimately, how does it help people to know the hard stuff? Well, because I do think that it is symbolizing this way of life. It is symbolizing the patterns of what you are going to go through in this lifetime. Why do we have these virtues in the first place? Again, it's like in Star Wars. The Force, what you're learning, the cultivation of energy, the skills that you are learning, these are very, very powerful things. Yeah. But what makes the difference between somebody possessing this power and using it for the sake of humanity or somebody using it for the not betterment of humanity? It's the character. The power is the same. It's the character. It's the carrier of the power. It's the one who's responsible to hold this power, to maintain this power. That one must be trained as well. And this is where the virtues hit in. The virtues are building the framework of the character, of the avatar, ultimately, that is then receiving all different types of training, skill training, that at least in the Shaolin tradition, we would say, is good to know them.